Welcome to The Explainer. If you're a focused learner gearing up for the United States naturalization interview, well, you are in exactly the right place today. Our mission here is simple. We're going to strip away all the fluff and give you only the absolute shortest, correct answers to the 2025 Civics test. We want to help you memorize these as efficiently as possible, so you can walk right into that interview room with total confidence. All right, let's jump right in. The information we're covering today is sourced directly from the official 2025 US Citizenship and Immigration Services test material. This is the exact 128 question list you could be tested on, so every second we spend here is going to count. Here's the roadmap for today. Fast test facts, American government, system of government, rights and responsibilities, American history, and finally, symbols and holidays. This structure is going to let you seamlessly cross-reference your own study guides. Section 1. Fast test facts, the rules of the exam. Let's rapidly cover these before we get into our high-speed review. Look, the absolute most crucial thing to remember here is that you do not need 100% to pass. For the standard test, the officer will ask up to 20 questions, and you only need to get 12 right. But there's this really excellent special exception if you're 65 years old or older and you've been a lawful permanent resident for 20 or more years, you only have to study a specific subset of 20 questions. In that case, you're asked 10 questions and you only need to answer 6 correctly to pass. Section 2. American Government. Principles of the Republic. Let's start the clock. I'm going to read the core of the question and then hit you with the absolute shortest acceptable answer to just lock it into your memory. Ready? Form of government, republic. Supreme law, constitution. What does the Constitution do? Forms the government. What does we the people mean? Self-government. How do we change the Constitution? Amendments. What does the Bill of Rights protect? Rights of Americans. And how many amendments are there? 27. Now check this out. The simple phrase, Declaration of Independence, is literally your ultimate cheat code for multiple questions right here. What document said America is free? Declaration of Independence. What document has the words life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Declaration of Independence. What document influenced the Constitution? Declaration of Independence. As for the rest of this block, 2 ideas from the founding documents: liberty, equality; the economic system, capitalism; the rule of law, no one is above the law. Why 3 branches of government? Checks and balances. Section 3. System of government, branches, and power. We are kicking this section off with a massive memory hack. What's really interesting here is that if you get any of these 4 specific duty questions, your answer is always exactly the same. The president. Who is commander-in-chief? The president. Who signs bills? The president. Who vetoes bills? The president. Who appoints federal judges? The president. 4 completely separate questions, 1 extremely short answer. All right, let's fire through the legislative branch. What are the 3 branches? Congress, President, courts. Who writes laws? Congress. 2 parts of Congress, Senate and House. Power of Congress, writes laws. Now, remembering the numbers 100 for the Senate and 435 for the House is the absolute quickest way to memorize this next bit. How many senators? 100. Their term? 6 years. How many voting members in the House? 435. Their term? 2 years. For this next batch, just keep your focus strictly on the structural differences. Why do House members have shorter terms? To follow public opinion. How many senators per state? 2. Why? Equal representation. See, a senator represents the citizens of their state, while a House member represents the citizens in their specific district. Why do some states have more representatives? State's population. Shifting gears to the executive branch, the president is elected for 4 years and can only serve 2 terms because of the 22nd Amendment. Okay, quick heads up here. For the questions about who is currently holding local or top federal offices, like your senator, representative, governor, or the current speaker, president, vice president, or chief justice, always remember to check USCIS.gov right before your interview, because those names change constantly. Anyway, back to the structures. If the president can't serve, who does? Vice president. Name a part of the executive branch. President. What does the cabinet do? Advises the president. 2 cabinet positions. Secretary of State, Secretary of Labor. What does the Electoral College do? Decides who is president. Let's tackle the courts. Part of the judicial branch, Supreme Court. What does the judicial branch do? Reviews laws. Highest court, Supreme Court. Seats on the court, 9. Justices needed to decide a case, 5. How long do they serve? For life. Why? To be independent. And this next part brilliantly illustrates the balance of power here, showing the stark contrast between federal powers, like the power to print paper money, and state powers, like the power to provide police. What does the 10th Amendment do? says powers not given to the federal government belong to the states. Section 4. Rights and responsibilities, civic duties. You're doing absolutely great. Let's keep it going. Describe a voting amendment. Any citizen can vote. Who can vote or serve on a jury? Citizens. 3 rights of everyone living here. Speech, religion, bear arms. What do we show loyalty to in the Pledge of Allegiance? The United States. 2 promises in the Oath of Allegiance. Be loyal. Obey laws. How can people become citizens? Naturalize. Examples of civic participation. Vote, run for office. 1 way Americans can serve their country. Vote. Now, why pay federal taxes and why register for selective service? Required by law is your golden, ultra-short, 2-for-1 answer for both of those questions. Section 5. American History, Building the Nation. Time to shift gears and travel back in time. Let's keep the colonial era incredibly simple. Why did colonists come? Freedom. Who lived here before Europeans? Native Americans. Who was sold as slaves? Africans. War for independence? American Revolution. Why declare independence? High taxes. Who wrote the Declaration? Jefferson. When was it adopted? July 4th, 1776. An important event in the Revolution? Declaration of Independence. And for the 5 of the 13 original states, just say it like a chant. New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland. Seriously, it's just the easiest list to memorize. Moving on to the founders. What document was written in 1787? Constitution. Who wrote the Federalist Papers? Madison. Why were they important? Supported passing the Constitution. Now just link these famous names to their shortest possible titles. Ben Franklin, inventor. George Washington, first president. Thomas Jefferson, third president. James Madison, fourth president. Alexander Hamilton, first secretary of the Treasury. Now, as we hit the 1800s, watch how this builds. What did we buy from France in 1803? Louisiana. Name the war in the 1800s between North and South. Civil War. What was the Civil War event? Emancipation Proclamation. What did Abraham Lincoln do? Freed the slaves. What did the Emancipation Proclamation do? Freed the slaves. What war ended slavery? The Civil War. Notice how nearly every major 1800s question is directly tied to the Civil War and freeing the slaves. Moving on. What does the 14th Amendment do? Makes all born here citizens. When did all men get the right to vote? After the Civil War. Women's rights leader, Susan B. Anthony. Notice that massive historic shift here in the 1900s block? We're moving toward massive global conflicts. Name a war in the 1900s. World War I. Why enter WW1? Germany attacked US ships. When did women get the right to vote? 1920. What was the Great Depression? Longest economic recession. When did it start? 1929. Who was president during the Depression in WW2? Roosevelt. Why entered WW2? Pearl Harbor. Who was Dwight Eisenhower? 34th president. Main rival during the Cold War? Soviet Union. Main concern during the Cold War? Communism. Oh, and here's another massive time saver for you. Why did the US enter the Korean War? Stop communism. Why did the US enter the Vietnam War? Stop communism. Exactly the same short answer for both. What did the Civil Rights Movement do? Fought to end racial discrimination. What is Martin Luther King Jr. famous for? Fought for civil rights. Why enter the Persian Gulf War? Force Iraqi military from Kuwait. What happened on September 11, 2001? Terrorists attacked the United States. Conflict after 9/11? War on terror. Name an American Indian tribe. Cherokee. Name an American innovation. Light bulb. Section 6. Symbols and holidays, honoring the U.S. You've made it to the final stretch. Let's finish this out strong. Capital of the United States? Washington, D.C. Where's the Statue of Liberty? New York. Why 13 stripes on the flag? 13 original colonies. Why 50 stars? 50 states. Name of the national anthem. The Star-Spangled Banner. What does E pluribus unum mean? Out of many, one. What is Independence Day? The country's birthday. Name 3 national holidays. New Year's Day, Labor Day, Christmas Day. And finally, lock in these last 2 answers by keeping it brutally simple. What is Memorial Day? A holiday to honor soldiers who died. What is Veterans Day? A holiday to honor people in the military. And just like that, we're done. You've just seen the absolute fastest way to master this material. By grouping these topics and using the absolute shortest possible answers, this goes from being totally overwhelming to completely manageable. Remember, you only need 12 right answers to change your life forever. So with all these shortcuts locked into your memory, are you ready to walk into that room, claim your history, and finally become a US citizen?